Hey, everybody, and welcome to the John DeVito Show. It is Tuesday. I forgot what day it was. So, anyway, it's Tuesday, and I'm remote today. I'm doing this show from my car. So, I've got my AirPods in, I've got my phone going. Welcome to PBG entering the studio. I appreciate it. If when you come in, if this is your first time here, please follow my show. Please share my live if you could. And I hope everyone's having a great time, a great day. I hope everyone had a great long weekend. We were really fortunate that we had some beautiful weather for us here in New England over the weekend, which was nice. And it was just a great weekend. So I hope everyone's doing well. I mean, we get a short week this week, Tuesday through Friday. And for me and my family, we're going to be talking about it today. We had a big day today. We had a big day in the DeVito household. So it was a good day, a hard day. There were some things about it that made me really happy and proud. Some other things that made me feel really sad. So we're going to talk about some of those things today. But anyway, things are going well. The weekend was really nice. Greens Cove, welcome to the show. And we had a beautiful weekend. We went up into New Hampshire. For those of you that are maybe new into my show, I live in Massachusetts, and we spent the Labor Day weekend up in New Hampshire. So it was about a 2 hour and 40-minute drive. We ended up in Moulton Borough, New Hampshire, which is a beautiful town right on Lake Winnipesaukee, which is one of the most beautiful lakes I have ever been to in my life. So, Eric, welcome. Dark Bear, welcome. Thank you to everybody coming in. If it's your first time here, please follow my show. And if you could, please share my live with other people out there so we can hopefully have a nice, full show in the chat room tonight. So, yeah, as I was saying, we had a great weekend, and we're going to get into talking about my big day today, which was kind of a hard day. Dark Bear, things are going well. I hope you're doing well also. But for me, we were up in New Hampshire over the weekend. As some of you know, when my kids were younger, we spent a lot of time up at Lake Winnipesaukee in New Hampshire. It's a beautiful area of the country. So we decided to go back and spend, one last weekend, or one last hurrah, as we were saying, up at the lake before my oldest son, Matt, went off to college. So we went up this weekend, and we had a really good time. The weather was beautiful. Up here in New England, we didn't have much luck over Memorial Day weekend. Memorial Day weekend, it literally rained the entire weekend. So it rained from Friday right through Monday, and it was just not really a beautiful day weather-wise. Oh, thank you, Doc Bear. I appreciate that. There is a congratulations that, I think we all feel good about. But then there's also, the sadness that comes along with it also. And I'll talk about that a little bit as we get into the show. So, Aku Afran, welcome to the show. But anyway, so we were up in New Hampshire. We had a great time. We rented this house, and we were close to the lake. And I have to say, hey, Jess Duck, good to see you. I have to say, one of the highlights of the weekend was this amazing fireworks show that we happened to see on the beach. It was Saturday, Memorial Day weekend. It was kind of funny. We chose to spend the day on the beach Saturday. It was probably 75, 80 degrees. It was a nice day, not super hot. And the place we were staying at is this private community, and they had their own private beach. So we went down, spent the day at the beach. We played Cards Against Humanity at the beach. I don't know if anyone's played that game, but totally fun card game. One of the dirtiest games you'll ever play. And I was playing that with my family, so I'm not sure if that was good parenting or bad parenting. But we spent the day on this beach. We hung out, had a beautiful time. And then right as we were leaving, it was funny, we see these people setting up, a bunch of stuff on the edge of the beach. So I walk over, and one of the guys goes, says something to me. And I said back to him, I'm like, well, what's going on here on the beach? He said, oh, we're setting up for a fireworks show. You guys should hang out. Hey, Cummings, welcome to the show. So anyway, we look at what they were setting up, and it looked like it was pretty crazy. So anyway, we're hanging out where, we decided to wait for the fireworks, and we're watching these people set up this display for the fireworks show. It was ridiculous. It was amazing how much they were setting up. So then we find out later, as they're still setting up, that this is apparently the same company. They're based in New Hampshire that does the fireworks shows on the 4th of July in Boston. So we were like, holy crap. So I'm talking to this one guy that's like a resident of this community, and he goes, trust me, you're going to be happy you stayed. This is literally going to be the best fireworks show you've ever seen in your life. And I sat back and I was like, well, I've seen some good fireworks shows. Maybe it will be, maybe it won't, but we're pretty psyched for it because because of COVID, we literally hadn't seen one fireworks show all summer. There's usually a big fireworks show in my town where I live. They canceled that again for the second year in a row. So this was literally the first fireworks show we got to see. And for those of you that follow me on Instagram, you can see the video that I posted of, during the fireworks show, they kind of were going at it. And then I posted a bunch of pictures of our weekend. And the last picture in that 10-picture slide deck was the finale of this show. Oh my God. These guys were not kidding. This was literally the best fireworks show I have ever seen in my 53 years on this planet. It was just crazy. I mean, the whole show was like a finale, but the finale was so over the top that everybody on the beach had like their mouths open. We were amazed, and it was just incredible. So just a great show. I mean, there was so many fireworks, and there was so much smoke because of the fireworks. You could barely see some of the fireworks towards the end, but it was just insane. It was a great show, an amazing weekend. And for those of you that follow me on Instagram, I'm not sure if you saw the gun company that I drove by. And let me pull this up. Hopefully you guys can still hear me as I'm off my Podbean app right now. But there was a company that posted a sign outside of their firearms company. So their firearms company was, in the middle of Moulton Borough, and on the sign driving by, it said basically, they sell vegan ammunition. They have keto AR-15s or whatever it was. So they were obviously making fun of like the population of Massachusetts that is a very liberal population. And it was hysterical. So I literally walked into this company and I decided to, just meet the owner and talk to him a little bit. So I went in, talked to this owner for about 20 minutes. A great guy. I ended up buying 2 boxes of 9mm ammunition from this guy, and just a cool guy. So what I'm going to do is probably in my next show, I'm going to do a little free promotion for this gun shop up in Moulton Borough, New Hampshire. Just great guy, great company, and the sign made me, totally crack up. So if you follow me on Instagram, check it out. You'll see the sign. It was really funny, and I was literally laughing, going down the road. So anyway, great weekend. We ended up coming home yesterday, and we got home to our house in Massachusetts. And then, for us yesterday, reality started to set in that our first baby, our son Matt, a lot of you have heard about him over the last year and a half when I've done this podcast. We are amazed by this man every day. And I call him a kid, but he's now 18 years old. And, this man has done things in his life that we never thought would be possible. And to give you an idea, I'm going to backtrack a little bit before I get into, what today was like and what last night was like. But as, many of you know, I'm a father of 4. I love my kids. And I might get a little teary, on the show today, so bear with me. But I love my kids, and, I grew up in a house that I didn't have the best house, I guess, growing up. There was a lot of fighting. There was a lot of abuse. And I guess the one thing that was really important to me in my life was to have a good family, to be a good father, to hopefully be a good husband, and to do all these things. I felt better maybe than I saw growing up, and better than my parents did. And, that's always a double-edged sword, because when you're young and you're an idealist, you don't understand how difficult relationships are, and how difficult it is to raise children, and how difficult so many of these things are. And you realize these things when you're an adult, when you're under such a tremendous amount of pressure to earn money, to pay for your house and to pay for your children and to make sure they have clothes and food. I mean, there's a ton of pressure with being an adult. But my oldest son, Matt, we have 4 kids. He's 18. I have a 16-year-old daughter. As many of you know, you've heard her on the air with me. My son Ethan's going to be 15 on this Saturday. And then my youngest, Brandon's 12. But my oldest son, Matt, man, he was my first son. He was our first child. And I remember today, the day he was born, like it was yesterday. I mean, it feels like literally it was yesterday. All the time I spent with him, I used to take him for walks every day in his carriage. I was such a proud father, and I still am. But for me, when he was little, I had a special bond with him because my wife, as many of you know, is a doctor, and she was going through her residency in medical school. And a lot of times, it was probably like 3 nights a week. Sometimes she was sleeping at the hospital and not coming home. And here I am. I was a guy that literally had no experience raising children. I had never put a diaper on a baby until I did it on our kids. I had never fed a baby. I think I'd only held a baby like once in my life. I had just never done it. So all of a sudden, we've got this baby. And, a lot of it fell into my lap. And my wife was super busy. I had to help with a lot of it. So he and I would spend nights together. We would go out and walk during the day together. I'd push him in his carriage, like I mentioned, around my neighborhood, around my town. And he and I were just best buddies. We hung out, just nonstop. And it was really, I think, just nice and special, to have that relationship with him and have that opportunity to spend time with him. I mean, in generations past, it was always the dad going out to work all the time and the mom would stay home. And I still work, but I was working remotely. So I was working out of the house and my wife was the one that was gone. So I got this special opportunity to kind of be with my son, raise my son, and spend time with my son. And it was just really an amazing experience to be able to do so. Now, when he turned 3 years old, one of the most difficult things that ever happened to us as adults, and I know that Eric may still be in here, but what was very difficult for us is the day Matt was diagnosed having autism. When he was 3, we brought him into Children's Hospital in Boston. He had all kinds of tests. He had some issues that he was delayed in his speech. He was delayed with his motor skills. He was delayed walking. He had a lot of problems, and it was our first child, so we really didn't know any better at that point. But finally, a good friend of mine, my friend Dennis, a guy I grew up with since literally kindergarten, I remember going to his house for a party, with friends I grew up with. And my friend Dennis works with adults that have a hard time, and his wife is a special education teacher. So I was telling, Dennis of a lot of the talents my son had. Like one of the things he could do is when he was 3, he could literally name every car on the road. My son, when he was 3, could recite back The Cat in the Hat, which was an 88-page book without looking at the book. Hey, everybody, I see everybody coming in. Spanky Beans, Dyer Party, welcome everybody coming in. So I'm kind of talking about my big day today. I'm giving a little bit of a backstory about my son, Matt. 3 years old, he was diagnosed with autism. And when we were at that party, my best friend, or one of my best friends, Dennis, I was talking to him about, boy, Matt's having a hard time getting along with kids. Matt's having a really hard time doing this. He's having a hard time doing that. My friend Dennis looked at me point blank and goes, John, my wife, Nancy, has a lot of kids in her class like this, and they have autism. You need to get him checked out. I remember I was so angry at my friend. I literally got my wife, we rounded up my kids, and we left. We left the party. I stormed out of there, and I probably didn't talk to my friend for a good month after that. I was just so angry at the time, but really down deep, it was more about being hurt. I was hurt that maybe there was something wrong with my son. And, it was hard. It was hard to process. So if there's anybody in here that has children that have struggled, I mean, you know what I'm talking about. It's hard when you find out maybe that perfect little baby of yours isn't so perfect. So we got him diagnosed, went to Children's Hospital. He was diagnosed with autism, Tourette syndrome, ADHD, OCD, and a variety of other things. And I'll never forget the meeting we went into at his school. Now, keep in mind, when I was told, this was back in 2002, when I was told that he had autism, the only time I had really even heard of autism before was when I had watched Rain Man with Dustin Hoffman. I knew nothing about it. Hello, hi, welcome to the show. I knew nothing about autism. I knew nothing about the spectrum. I didn't know what it meant to have autism. So once we found out, it was me literally at night spending hours upon hours, going through things on the internet, trying to find cures for autism, trying to find, will kids with autism, will they have families? Will they have jobs? Will they have a life? Or are they going to be living by themselves and not being able to enjoy the life that I've been so accustomed to? So, my wife and I went through this very difficult time. And I remember when we went into the school one time and we had a meeting with the people in the school and they were telling us we needed to get him ADA services or ABA services. Those are applied behavior analysis services. So we went into this meeting. And I remember one of the people at the school district told us point blank, most likely your son is going to live in an institution someday. And I will never forget those words. I literally went home and cried. I was distraught thinking that the only life my son would have would be to live in an institution. It was horrible. It broke my heart. I would say that it changed me as a person, when I heard those words. So it was so very hard. But the good news is, we were able to get him into a good program. And for anybody out there that maybe has a child with autism, anybody out there that maybe knows of a child with autism, if you end up becoming a parent and you end up with a child that has autism, do not think it's the end of the world, because it is not. My son ended up going year-round school, from the time he was 3 on. He had ABA services, which helped him to understand facial expressions. It helped him to do so many things that we never thought he would do. And it was funny because we always underestimated him. We always protected him. We felt like he was our artistic son and he was going to struggle and he wasn't going to be able to do things, and we did push him, but we also kind of expected, I guess, to a point that maybe, he would struggle and wouldn't be able to do certain things. So anyway, he went through all this ABA. We got him into soccer. Soccer wasn't his thing. He played T-ball, and T-ball wasn't his thing. We got him into basketball, and basketball wasn't really his thing either, even though he did finally score a basket towards the end of the season in a game. And it was kind of funny. You never know what type of things are going to change a kid's life. But my son eventually ended up watching the movie Rocky, right? So he watched Rocky, and he absolutely loved boxing. This kid loved boxing. He loved movies. So he literally, for the span of like a year, talked nonstop about wanting to be a boxer. Now, keep in mind, he's in school. He's going year-round. He's struggling with friends. He didn't get invited to many play dates. He didn't get invited to many birthday parties. And it wasn't the kids were being mean. He was just different, and they didn't understand him. So it wasn't something that was being purposely done. It was just, this kid was a little bit different, and, the kids didn't know how to react around him. So, Matt was struggling in school, but he finally decided he wanted to box, and he started nagging me about boxing. So he went on about boxing, on and on and on. So finally, I started Googling boxing gyms. And we happened to find a boxing gym in Worcester, Massachusetts, which is near our house. And we took him into the gym. And this is a legitimate boxing gym. They train professionals. Edwin Rodriguez, who fought on Showtime, trained in this gym. The guy that trains in this gym is a well-known boxing trainer in the Worcester, Massachusetts area. His name is Kendrick Ball. Back a few months ago when Mike Tyson fought on pay-per-view, one of Kendrick's fighters was on the undercard, a guy by the name of Jermaine Ortiz, and Kendrick was in his corner and got to meet Mike Tyson and all that stuff. So, hey, Cugs, welcome to the show. If you're new here, please follow my show. Please share my live. I greatly appreciate it. We're talking about my big day today. We're going to get to it in a second. I'm just kind of giving you some of the backstory. So anyway, my son walks into this boxing gym when he's probably 9 years old. He knows nothing about boxing. My family knows nothing about boxing. And I meet the owner of this gym, and I was a little scared. It was in kind of a tough part of the city, and, so got some tough characters in this gym. So my son is like the only little suburban white kid walking in the door. And I meet the owner, and I told him what the deal was with my son. He has autism. He watched Rocky. He wants to box. Will you train him? He looked at me and said, absolutely. And I'm not going to tell the story for too long because I've told it before. But this guy took my son under his wing. My son still goes to boxing at the age of 18 at this gym. And this guy, Kendrick, who trains professional boxers. Now, you hear about today in society, black versus white, Democrat versus Republican. You hear about all these things that are separating us as people. But this gym is mostly an African-American and Hispanic gym. You got maybe a couple of white people in the gym, like me, like my son. But this guy welcomed my son in for 9 years, took him in, trained him as a boxer. He would put him in the ring against professional fighters and let him work on his offense. They couldn't hit him back, thank God. But he was able to go in and fight and get this stuff out. But the thing that I saw is this place built his confidence. This place taught him how to believe in himself. This place gave him friends because in his town, this white suburban wealthy town that we live in, not too many kids went out of their way to be his friend. And it's not because people are bad people. It's just, it was what it was. I don't hold anybody. I'm not angry at anybody about that, but it's just the way it went down. We went into this gym, and when I walked in with my son to this gym, literally every guy in this gym would fist bump him. They would say, "What's up, champ?" They would give him hugs. They would welcome him. He became a part of this boxing family in this gym to the point where when my son finally discovered his passion, which a lot of you know is acting, he ended up, starring in the lead in the play. He was Buddy the Elf in Elf the Musical. All of the guys from the boxing gym came to his play in Whiteville and literally cheered him on and was there for him and were hugging him after the play. I mean, this was something I could have never predicted in my life that would have happened for my son, and it was such a good thing for him. Hey, Poetic, it's so nice to see you. I'm talking about my son today. It was kind of a big day today for our family. A good day, but a very hard day. So I'm giving some backstory on my son, Matt. So anyway, fast forward, without telling you his whole life story, here we are today. He's 18 years old. My son, who at the age of 3, we were told that someday he may live in an institution. Back in June, he graduated from high school. He went to a wonderful therapeutic high school called Summit Academy in Worcester, Massachusetts, for kids on the autism spectrum. And today, we finally moved my son in to his college dorm. And, when you hear the stories about me spending so much time with my son when he was little, today was hard. Today was hard. I mean, my wife and I came home from New Hampshire last night after our weekend at Lake Winnipesaukee in New Hampshire. We had a wonderful weekend. My wife told me that she got literally no sleep last night, literally none. Of course, I was snoring like a baby, but she got no sleep. And Cummings, I did, and I have tears in my eyes right now. So I really do. But, my son, we were told from day one of all of the different things that he probably would never be able to do. And guess what? The experts were wrong. He's done them. He played sports. He went into boxing. He graduated from high school. He's got meaningful friendships. He is now, as of today, living on his own in a dorm, and he is going to be going to college for his first classes tomorrow. Now, is he going to Harvard? No, he is not. He is going to a small community college called Quinsigamon Community College in Worcester. He's got 3 classes tomorrow, and the first class of the day for him is theater production. So it's something that he absolutely loves. So we're excited for him to start his college adventure. But honestly, for me today, this was such a day of emotion, such a difficult day for me, such a day of ups and downs. And it's so weird to feel sad, happy, and proud in the same day. But that's exactly how I feel, so it's amazing. So I see Poetic asked about my daughter. I just happened to see that. Caitlin is doing well. Caitlin started her junior year in high school just a few days ago. And generally, the fall and the end of the summer is a very difficult time for her. And I can't really say why. It's kind of a personal issue. But this year, she had a very good August and a very good September. She's starting to look at colleges now, because she's going to be, again, leaving us in a couple of years as well. So Caitlin has decided that as of right now anyway, for a while she thought she wanted to be a writer. Hey, Spicoli, good to see you. So she thought she wanted to be a writer, but now she's looking at maybe becoming a doctor like her mom. So she's thinking maybe about being a psychologist, and she wants to go to medical school. So we're really proud of her and happy for her. And she's a great kid. She's had a hard time also, and it's been not easy for her for a period of time, but she is doing better. Her confidence is getting better, and we're super proud of her. So I really appreciate you asking about her, and that's nice to see. So yeah, in our family we're going through a lot of milestones. I appreciate everybody that's coming in. My son Ethan's a freshman in high school this year, and my son Brandon, our baby, who's 12, is in 7th grade. She really is poetic, and I'm hoping I can get her to do some more shows with me this year. I think she got bored of doing the shows. So my other 2 sons want to play baseball at Alabama. Mr. T, welcome to the show. No, actually, I would love it if my sons played at Alabama. My son Ethan right now is getting recruiting letters from all over the country. And I don't want to get into a brag thing, but you guys asked, so I will tell you about it. Hey, Crazy Train, welcome to the show. So my son Ethan, he's a very good baseball player. He's going to be 15 this upcoming Saturday. He's been going to these showcases for baseball. And this past summer, he was named as one of the top 50 baseball players in New England. And he recently just got like a national ranking for baseball as well. So we are getting emails from colleges already. So colleges are reaching out to us. He was offered a chance to play for a private high school up in Nova Scotia. They were looking for a catcher. So he works hard. That's where he is now. He's at the gym lifting. I'm watching my other son play football right now and doing the podcast from my phone. But he's hoping to play at a big Division I college. So that's his goal. That's his plan. He's working hard, and he is a very good baseball player. So, dude, hey, well, I would love to live in Alabama, man. You saw me. I was up in New Hampshire. New Hampshire is like a place in the South, man. I mean, I grew up in New Hampshire, and we're all rednecks in New Hampshire. We're just Yankee rednecks up in New Hampshire. It's different. New Hampshire, you could pull it out of where it is and plug it right down in the South someplace, and it would totally fit in. I mean, if you look at the other states in New England, I mean, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, they don't belong. They don't belong in the South. But New Hampshire, man, you put that down in the South, it would fit right in. And you saw that sign I posted to that gun shop in New Hampshire. It was absolutely classic and absolutely hysterical. So anyway, I wanted to tell some of you about my big day today before I let anybody call in. And, today was an emotional day, but, for anybody that's out there, if you're a parent, if you have a child that struggles, if you have a child, if you find out your child has autism, if you find out your child has Down syndrome or whatever it may be, don't give up. Don't give up hope. It's a hard road. My wife and I have walked this road for the last 18 years. But one thing you got to do is, even if you're a parent of a typical child, you always have to be your child's advocate. And that's what we were every step of the way. We did the best we could. And, we're just hoping things will work out for our son and he's going to have the life that he wants to have. So today, it's been 18 years coming, and I never thought I'd be at the day where my son moved out of the house, but he's gone now. And I have to admit, I came home this afternoon, and not having him in the house is different. It's going to be strange not having him there. It's going to be hard to get used to, and I am certainly going to miss him, every day that he's not with us. But I was able today to text him later in the afternoon, asking him how things were going, and he told me things were great. I'm happy, Dad, and that's what makes me happy. So, for all of you that are parents out there, Cummings, I know you're a dad. I know we have a lot of parents in here. Enjoy every moment you have with your kids. Really. Crazy Train. We did a good job, but I don't want this to be like a Facebook post where we come across as like, oh my God, John and Cheryl are amazing parents. Their kid has done this, and their kids are doing this. We're like everybody else. We've had good days of parenting. We've had bad days of parenting. We have had horrible days of parenting, and we have made a lot of mistakes. I still remember when my son Matt was born, I was out to dinner for work with a customer who was the director of science for the whole state of Connecticut, kind of an important guy with a big job and a great guy. He was a parent, and he told me, congratulations on your son. And he said, if I can give you any advice on your son, and I always remember this advice, it was, just remember, your kids are going to be hardwired with their personalities. They're going to be hardwired with the things that they like. And the best thing you could do as a parent is to try to just guide them along a path. Because, for me, I was a football player in college. My son doesn't like football. And for me to force him to play football, it wouldn't have been something that would have been a good thing for him. So for me, I've tried to always remember that. And if you look at my 4 kids, hey, Lai, just welcome to the show. But the way I've tried to parent is with my son, Matt. He wants to be an actor. So we've pursued, help support him in that direction. My daughter, Caitlin, wanted to be a writer. Now she wants to be a doctor. So we're trying to support her in that direction. My son, Ethan, baseball player. We're supporting him in that direction. And then my youngest, Brandon, is either wants to be a baseball player or a football player. So we're going to try to support them in any way that we can. So welcome to everybody coming to the show. I greatly appreciate it. I know I'm just kind of rambling on about my personal life, but honestly, this is almost like a therapeutic session for me today where I just needed to talk this out a little bit because it was an amazing day, but man, it's been a tough day, but a good day in so many ways. And, for those of you, whether you're a parent, whether you're in a relationship, whether you are alone, try to live every day like it's your last. Go out there and enjoy it while you have it, whatever it may be in your life. And don't squander the time you have with your loved ones. Don't squander the time you have with a spouse, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a child, with yourself. Don't squander the time. Enjoy everything you can for as long as you can and squeeze the most out of it. I mean, I remember talking to my wife, and one of the things we would talk about a lot would be that, when we're down playing shuffleboard in Florida as an old couple and we're living in a retirement community and I'm changing my Depends twice a day, the last thing I want to think about while I'm on that shuffleboard court was I didn't spend enough time with my kids. Light Bright, welcome to the show. Good to see you. Aloha. So that was one of the things that, I didn't want to have regrets when I got older. I didn't want to worry about, I didn't spend enough time with my kids. I didn't spend enough time with my wife. I didn't spend enough time with my family. And that was always the one thing it always came back to. Like over the course of time, I've had a good career. I've had a good job. I've, done well. One year I was vice president of a company. And the one thing I hated about that job was, in my business, I'm in sales. So for me, I travel for work. So when I was the vice president of sales, it was a big job. I loved having the big title. I loved having, making the big money. But every week I had to get on an airplane and leave my family. I had to hop on a plane. I had to fly away. I had to entertain customers. I was living in hotels. And for me, that was literally hell on earth. That is not something I wanted ever. So I finally, after a period of time, decided, because I was on an interim basis, they wanted me to take the job. I agreed to fill in for somebody that had left the job. And when it was time for me to kind of make my decision as to whether or not I wanted to take the job, I turned it down and said I did not want to do it. And I said, my first priority is to be with my family, and that's where I want to be. I mean, money is important. Money is great. Money pays the bills. And I think a lot of us make mistakes in our life where we are willing to trade our lives for money. And, money's great. I mean, you can buy a house, you can buy a nice car, you can buy all these different things, but money does not buy happiness completely. It really does not. And I think you have to be true to yourself. You have to be true to your family and true to what's important to you instead of just chasing some of these superficial things. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want you to think I'm, just this do-good person that doesn't believe in money. I mean, my wife and I have worked hard. We've made money. We've saved money. We've invested, and we are in a good place financially. But it is not the end-all, be-all of life. It really is not. So I know exactly. So, hey, Spicoli called in. What's going on, man? How you doing?
What's up, man? How you doing, Joe?
Not too much. So what's going on with you?
Not much of anything, but you were talking about traveling and having to leave your family and all that. And I used to travel with my work, and it paid a hell of a lot better when you traveled.
Yep.
And I used to do it a lot when I was younger. But then once
what did you do? What did you do for a job?
Welder.
Okay. Yeah, you could do very well when you travel being a welder. I mean, depending on where large projects are happening and things like that, you can get paid a lot of money.
Yeah, you get paid a lot of money. And once I met my wife and we settled down, and she already had a couple kids from her previous marriage, and the daughter, my stepdaughter was pregnant, and once we had the kid, our grandkid, man, I said, fuck this. It was amazing to watch a child be born and brought into the world. And I traveled a couple more times, and I was like, nah, I'm done with this shit. It's time to
that's
be
how
a
it was for
family
me.
guy and all that, all the partying and bar days and traveling everywhere. And I made my money and saved it. I just wanted to throw that out there. I know what you're talking about.
No, it's so true. I mean, that was
you.
one. I'm glad you called in about that. And it's so true. I mean, we did the same thing. And, one of the things you can do is if you're in a place where you're making money, make sure you pay yourself first, always before you pay your bills. Try to save some money, put it away, because it's true. When you have that family, I mean, for me anyway, I just didn't want to be away from it, weeks on end, because, I mean, today, here I am, my oldest son went off to college today. We moved him in, and he, we will see him. I mean, he's going to come home on vacations. He's going to come home to visit us, but it's never going to be that same family dynamic anymore where all 6 of us live together. He's now off on his own, and it's going to change even more, when my daughter goes to college in 2 years. And, you only have a finite amount of time with your loved ones. And I think, this is probably hitting home with me a little bit, that, because this summer we've lost some family members. We lost my father-in-law. He died of cancer back in July. One of my wife's uncles passed away. My father's sick. So there's just kind of a lot, when you start looking at losing people, you don't want to piss away the time that you have with the people in your life. And, there's always going to be a big job. There's always going to be a chance to travel. There's always going to be a chance to make more money. But you have to decide, I guess, whether or not that's, going to be worth trading for. And for me, it wasn't. For me, and for the people that have to go out and work and they have to work and travel. I mean, I don't hold it against you. I mean, there are some families where only one parent works, or maybe you're a single parent and you have to go out and pay the bills and you have to do what you do. I know you're right. I am being a girl today. You never know who you never know who you're gonna get when you tune into the John DeVito show. You could get rude John, you could get funny John, sports John. I mean, who knows? Today is girl John. There's no doubt. I think I don't know if I'm PMSing. I don't think I am, but I might be. I can never tell if I'm actually about to have my period or not, but I don't know, man. So Spicoli, no, it's okay. It's totally funny. I think it's hilarious. No, you're
the
absolutely
last
right.
job I went on, man, it was close by, and it was like a 7-hour drive. My wife came down and got me. We were through with the job, and we could sit around for 3 more days or go home. I said, fuck that, man. Come get me. I'm ready to go back home. And my old man was sick and all that, and he died shortly thereafter. And I'm just glad I went home. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's when you start losing parents, and I know Cummings just joined us also. I know he lost his grandfather, and he was a very special man to him. But for me, my dad is 81 years old, and he's really struggling. We lost my father-in-law recently, who was a great guy, and we really miss him. And it's hard when you start losing parents, when you start losing family members. You realize, how fragile this whole thing is, and. I'm sorry you had to go through that too, man. It's hard for all of us. It's just a hard thing to go through, Spicoli.
Yeah, I was 24 at the time.
Wow. That's too young.
Yeah. It is what it is.
Yeah, you're right. But, it is. Cummings, you there, brother?
I just wanted to call in and tell you, share that with you, and wish you safe travels and enjoy yourself.
I appreciate that, brother. Thank you very much for calling in. I appreciate that. Thank you.
And instead of flying home, walk home.
Cummings, you there, brother? I'm trying to give you a chance. It looks like you're muted. Oh, there you go.
Oh, what's going on, man?
Home. Don't fly home. Walk home.
Oh, you broke up a little bit. What was that again?
Fly home. I mean, don't fly home. Walk home.
Right. No, absolutely correct. Let's see. I see Mr. T saying he wants Biden to send him one more child tax credit. I think probably a lot of businesses out there right now are happy that all these freebies that they've been giving away are starting to end. I know in some of the Republican cities, those things haven't happened, or it have happened already, where they've kind of eliminated all the free money. But in the Democratic cities, they have not. I mean, up here in Massachusetts, it's crazy. Up here in Massachusetts, the businesses can't find workers. So I'm kind of finally happy. Maybe we're going to get some people back to work up here,
Nah, you're going to be losing small businesses left and right now.
Well, the thing that got me, I don't know if you were in when I first started the show, Cummings, but we were up in Moulton Borough, New Hampshire, Lake Winnipesaukee over the long weekend. And we drove from Moulton Borough to Wolfboro. Now, if Wolfboro sounds familiar, Mitt Romney, who I used to like and I don't anymore, has his summer house in Wolfboro right on the water. So, he's well known for having his place up there. So it's a really nice town. So we drove there with the whole family. It's about a 30-minute drive to have dinner. We got there, dude. Every single restaurant that had existed in the town when we had been there before COVID, they were all gone. They were all gone.
Did you see what the government just did?
No, tell me, what happened?
They're about to give small businesses $2 million. You know how many owners are going to cash out and get out?
Oh, of course, I would. I mean, honestly, God, in my age, if someone gave me $2 million, I would be like, that's it. I'm all done. Time to retire. I'd be gone. That's exactly what I would do.
That's what they're going to do. They're going to cash out, and I don't blame them. But the stuff you were talking about, traveling for work and all that, dude, let me tell you, I'm 29. I'll be 30 next year. And I did some of that, and I didn't like it.
No.
Because I had my wife at home. See, I married a lot younger than you did, but
yeah.
I mean, I couldn't even imagine being in my, late 30s, early 40s and doing that. But, dude, let me tell you, I'm working 2 hours a day now.
Right.
And some of these deals I'm getting, man, I can easily make 10 grand a month.
Well, now, explain this to me, because you and I had talked about you've got like this little business thing going on right now, and I'm kind of curious as to what's going on. So tell me what you're doing. I'm kind of curious to learn more about what you're doing right now.
If people are going to lose their homes due to foreclosure, you don't have to lose your home. You don't have to Well, you're going to lose your home. You know that, but you don't
Right.
want it to hit your credit. You don't want it to destroy you the way it will. So what are you going to do? You can't put it out there for sale, and they're going to foreclose in 14 days. And good God, what's going on? You don't have the money. All you got to do is text me, and I pay cash. And like, if your house is worth it, I'll pay cash. We'll pay off your mortgage, and of course, it's sold. I mean, I sell it before, I sell it pretty quick. But there's other people out there that's got cash, and they're wanting investment properties all the time, and they don't want to deal with real estate agents. And if you got cash talk.
So you go in. So so I call you. I'm in trouble. I lost my job. I don't have any money. We owe $100,000 on our mortgage. Our house is worth $200,000. I can't sell it. So I call you. You come in. You pay for my house, or you pay off the house. You take ownership of the house, and then you turn around and sell the house.
Sometimes I don't even take ownership. Sometimes I have somebody else that already wants it.
Really?
Yeah. Sometimes I don't even take ownership. Sometimes I just I sell my place on the contract to somebody else.
Now, how do you make your money? How do you make your money doing that?
What I go in, I get your house for a certain amount of money. If your house, like you said, it's 100,000, it's worth 200,000. I go to somebody. I was like, this house doesn't need much. Well, how much will it take to get you off the contract? Because I got it under contract. I'm going to buy it if. And they're like, well, how much it take to get you off the contract? Give me 110. I make 10 grand and I never touch it.
Huh. Nice. Okay, so that sounds like a pretty good thing. So how long have you been doing this for?
I've been doing it for about 2 weeks.
Nice.
And I mean,
nice.
I'm making. I mean, let me tell you, you're gonna get 100. You're gonna send out 100. You're gonna talk to 100 people. 99 of them are gonna say no, but one of them will say yes, and it's all worth it.
Now, I know Lil was a little disappointed that I was kind of a girl today, but see, that was my theory in college. I figured if I asked out 99 girls or 100 girls, one would say yes. So if I asked 100 girls to have sex with me, one would say yes, and that's all that matters. So I got used to a lot of rejection because I got plenty of rejection. So I would ask and ask and ask, and it does work out that way. Eventually, you're going to find someone that gives in and says, what the hell, why not? I feel bad for you. I'll throw you one. Whatever. Right?
I'm telling you, there are people out there working 9 to 5, and I'll tell this to anybody. I don't care who's listening to me. If you've got money to invest in real estate, buy real estate. Buy it. The price of it's only going to go up. The bottom's never going to fall out of it. We're gaining people. Look at our census. Buy real estate. Buy it cheap. Sell high. Buy it cheap. Sell high.
I've never lost money in real estate. I mean, the first house I bought, I was in my late 20s. I think I made like 50 grand on that house. The second house my wife and I bought together, what did we make on that? I can't remember exactly. I think not a ton, but I think we made like 40 or 50,000. Then we bought a condo at Lake Winnipesaukee, same thing, made that money. And then the house we're in now, it was kind of funny. We paid, we bought this before the Great Recession. So the house we're in now, it's a pretty good sized house, and houses in Massachusetts are already expensive. And keep in mind, we're an hour and 20 minutes outside of Boston. Living near Boston is almost impossible unless you're a millionaire, a multimillionaire. So the house we bought before the Great Recession, we paid, I think it was $440,000 for the house. It's like a 3,100 square foot, colonial, 5 bedrooms. And it went down to, during the Great Recession, it went down to being worth, I think it was $310,000. So we were literally down $130,000 in that house at that time. And we just didn't look. We knew we weren't moving, but it was just stressful to know that we were down that much. Hopefully it'll come back. Well, if you look at our house now on Zillow, with the economy going the way it has over the last year or so, we are now, I think it's worth like $568,000. So overall, we're up. But we took a big nosedive for a while. And that was the time to buy, though. If you had the cash, the key when the real estate market drops is to have that cash on hand so you can snap up things with cash, because the banks sometimes aren't loaning out money at that point, and you need that cash,
The banks aren't loaning anything right now. And
right.
that's why people are looking for people with cash, because they're like, I need to sell this and I need this to buy that over there. And I'm like, okay, well, here I am. Come to me. Come to me. King. I got cash. I got cash. And it's just like, Hey, man, I'll teach you how to do it. You can sit there at your house because you're in sales.
Yep.
Where you're at up there in Massachusetts, buddy, let me tell you, you can double close on some of those deals. Never touch them. Double close. They email you the paperwork. You fill them out. You get them notarized. Overnight them back to them. Never touch it. Make about 50 grand. You and your wife sitting on a beach somewhere.
That sounds pretty good to me. I kind of like that. I like that idea. So you and I may have to talk off the show and kind of discuss that a little bit to see if maybe I can make some money doing that. So, hey, listen, I would hang in there. Don't leave yet. I want to say hello to Eric since he popped in. Eric, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good today. Yourself?
Yeah, doing very well. Did you have a good long weekend?
I mean, it was pretty good. I hung out with a friend 2 days in a row.
Thanks, Mr. T. I appreciate that. So, what was that, Eric? You said what?
Hanged out with a friend like 2 days in a row, Saturday and
good.
Sunday.
What'd you guys do?
I know Saturday I went to visit him at a antique shop that he's helping run for a friend who is out sick right now, but hopefully the friend starts feeling better soon.
Nice. Now, are you into antiques? Do you like those type of things?
I think buying, selling, and try to get is not my thing, but I think that this friend is into collecting them.
That's kind of cool. Yeah, for me, I kind of like antiques. It's something I've gotten into a little bit over the last few years, and I've got a few things that I think are kind of cool. So I kind of get into that a little bit. And I wouldn't say I love it, but there are certain things I like that I think are kind of cool checking out. So, hey, Spicoli has a question real quick. So, do you buy fixer-uppers, Cummings?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. Now, what do you do with those? Do you actually flip them? Do you fix them up?
No.
Or just flip them over as is?
But flip them over as is. There's always a flipper in your local community that's wanting them.
Nice.
And what I'm doing, there's no secret to this. There's a guy on TikTok that's basically telling people how to do it. I mean, there's
Welcome,
no secret
Seeker.
to it. You don't have to have cash. Like you don't have to have the money to go into the contract with somebody. Like that's fine. There's a contract out there that you can get that gives you time to find a cash buyer. If you don't find that cash buyer within those couple of days, then what you do is you say, hey, the roof needed more work than what I thought it did. I'm going to have to cancel the contract. And you're out of it. The contract states that you can cancel a contract for any reason. So once you enter in the contract, you're not obligated to buy that.
Huh. So how many days do you have once you enter into that contract to back
out? Most of the times, 10 days is what I put in there. I've got one right now that the lady texted me like while I was listening to you. And she was like, I think we can do it. Like she's got I don't really care about this, but I'll tell you, she's got a beach house in Pensacola, Florida, and it's worth $1.2 million, and she needs a $600,000 payoff.
Wow.
And so I know somebody that's looking in that area, and I've already texted him and saying, hey, what do you give me to get off this?
And it sounds like an interesting business.
Dude, I'm telling you, it sounds like a scam because it sounds like it's too good to be true, but it's not. It's just a way that you can play the system, you can play real estate, and you don't have to have any money. It's basically for people who don't have money that want to get into real estate, that want to, get that money, and they just don't have, because, you've heard the old saying, it takes money to make money. It doesn't.
Oh, that's true. Now, what about, I see Pook says down below, it's a risk doing the assignment of loans, and Spicoli's saying it sounds risky. I mean, is there risk in this? I mean, it sounds like it could be a little risky where you could lose some money, no?
No, I don't. I mean, what money am I going to lose? I don't put any money. I mean, I don't assign a loan. It's not a loan. It's a contract. These people have cash.
There you go. If you see Pook, I have money if there's something I'm interested in. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not assigning a loan. It's assigning. Like I'm putting the contract, and then I'm selling the contract. I'm not selling the property. I'm selling my place on the contract. But if I'm double closing on it, then I'm selling the property as the owner because I can legally do that without a real estate license. You don't need a real estate license or nothing if you're dealing in cash.
Yeah, interesting. It's very interesting. So I don't know. We'll have to talk more about that. I want to go back to Eric a little bit. I kind of cut him a little bit as the question came in. So Eric, you were telling us about your weekend. You You went to the antique shop one day. What else did you do this past weekend?
Well, that same friend I visited at the antique shop on Saturday, I, went to see him again the following day. But I mean, I think he went to get his second dose of the Moderna vaccine, but hopefully, it, he's taking it quite well and is not feeling miserable from it.
Oh, it's good to see. I mean, it's good. Hopefully, he's feeling okay. Now, is this a friend or maybe someone that's could be special or just kind of a buddy?
I mean, I think it's just a friend, nothing more.
Okay.
He's really. I mean, he's good people.
Yeah, well, that's good. It's good to have friends. It's good. It's good that you have stuff to do. Now, did you get to see your family all over the weekend or no?
Didn't really get to do that this year. And I know tomorrow, my 37th birthday will be exactly 1 month from tomorrow, actually.
So you're turning 37 1 month from tomorrow?
October 8th, yes.
Wow. How do you feel about turning 37?
I feel about the same.
Yeah.
Age is just a number.
Now, Cummings, you said you're 29. I got to say that 29 for me was probably one of the worst ages that I ever was because it was one big, long wait to turn 30. And I don't know if you feel that way, but I remember 29 was rough. I think for me, 29 was worse than 30. Does it bother you at all being 29, Cummings, or are you good to go?
No, I mean, I'm walking on grass instead of pushing it up. That's the way I look at it.
That's what I say. Every day above ground's a good day, right? So that's kind of how I feel about things also. Yeah. And now, did I tell you guys about my health scare I had last week at all?
No.
I think you did.
Oh, boy, I got to share this with you a little bit. I forgot to mention this earlier in the show. Now, I'm someone I've gotten heavy over the last handful of years. I've generally been a guy that keeps in pretty good shape. I lifted weights a lot playing football when I was younger. But over the last few years, I've let myself go a little bit and gained some weight. So I haven't really noticed any adverse reactions or any adverse effects to me being heavier. But I went to my first physical since before COVID early last week. So I go into my physical, and I think I was joking around about my physical a little bit the other day, but I went into my physical, got my blood pressure taken, okay? She takes the blood pressure. My blood pressure was literally 190 over like 105. And the doctor or the woman that took my blood pressure looked at me and said, "Oh my God, do you feel okay?" I'm like, "I feel fine. Why?" And she goes, "That is dangerously high. Like to the point where we may need to bring you to the emergency room, like right now, like you may be having an event." And I said, "Really?" And I'm like, "Holy shit." So I didn't feel bad. I felt okay, just maybe kind of anxious. So she said, "Listen, you're going to talk to the doctor, but by the end of the appointment, we need to take your blood pressure again to see where it's at." So I talked to the doctor. The doctor was aware of what my blood pressure was, and she ended up taking it, at the end. And I guess it was like 147 over 102. But even with that bottom number over 100, that still puts me in a high level of hypertension. So away over the weekend, I've been keeping my blood pressure, the entire time, just obviously concerned that I could have a heart attack or whatever. Now I'm 53 years old, overweight, it could happen. So I decided, and this is going to be a new initiative of mine, and you guys can track this on Instagram. I've decided to change my life. My wife keeps calling it a diet. I said, nope, this is not a diet. This is a lifestyle change. So my lifestyle change is going to be, I'm changing the way I'm eating. No more shit, no more crap. I don't really drink anyway, so probably, no more alcohol, maybe occasionally. But I am going to be healthy eating, and my goal is to lose at least 50 pounds. It may be more. So good news is I did take my blood pressure this morning since I've cut salt out of my diet. I've stopped eating shit food. I've already lost 8 pounds in the span of a week and a half. So my goal is to lose at least 50 and no more shit food. So I'm going to change the way I live, start exercising. I'm at my son's football practice right now. Before I came in to do the podcast in my car, I took a nice walk. So I'm at 10,000 steps for the day right now. It does, Spicoli. I mean, I've never had any health problems. I'm a pretty healthy 53-year-old fat guy. And for me today, to have the blood pressure problem for the first time, even when I was up at the lake, one of the nights I was there, my blood pressure hit 180 over 114. And I'm saying to my wife, Jesus, do I need to go to the hospital? So it was scary. So finally now I have a reason to make that decision, like not traveling for work. I don't want to die on my children, being that they're still in their teens and one of them is 12. So it's time for me to make some changes in my life, and I'm going to keep you guys in on the journey as I start losing weight and getting back in shape. And again, I've lost 8 so far, and I'm hoping, like I said, to lose 50, maybe even as many as 60 or 70 pounds. And I want to get back to being thin again and back in good shape. And coming from scary, Eric, scary shit.
You know what you should have told her?
What's that?
Hold on, let me jerk off and get this erection down, and my blood pressure will go down.
That could be what it is. Maybe I'm not getting laid enough. I don't know. That could be what the issue is.
I'm an old man. Though?
What's that?
No shit, though. If you eat dandelions, that'll stop.
High blood pressure stops when you eat dandelions? What is that, an Alabama cure?
No. You're not going to believe me when I tell you this, but you have to fact check me.
My great Grammy told me that if you ate dandelions, you won't have high blood pressure.
No. It's more scientific than that.
All right.
Did you know that the same people that make Roundup also make the number one heart medicine and blood pressure medicine that most people take?
Really? Is it the same ingredients, though?
They use the dandelions. It's an ingredient from dandelions for you that they put in their medicine for your blood pressure and your heart, but then they sell you Roundup so you can kill them in your yard, so you have to go to the doctor to get their medicine.
Oh, boy.
There's the racket. I know there's always a racket in there somewhere.
It is. It's 100% true.
No, I'm serious. Fuck that, man. There's always one.
Yeah. So, Spicoli, you called back in. So, did you have any feelings about hearing about my health?
Yes. When I was like 22 or 23, my blood pressure was like 200 over like 120. When I went to the chiropractor for my back, and he asked the same thing, do you feel all right?
Right.
And I told him, no, damn it, I'm here, my back hurts, motherfucker.
Goes, for me, I didn't feel bad, though. I mean, did you feel sick from the blood pressure?
Yeah. No. He told me I needed to go to the emergency room. And I said, all right, man. And I went straight to the bar where all my buddies were, and, we finished out the night. And I made an appointment with my doctor, but I've been on blood pressure medicine forever, and cholesterol and all that shit. But I don't live a healthy lifestyle.
I am probably gonna,
I still smoke. I still fucking dip. I still drink. I don't eat right, and I'm starting to eat right now, but
yeah, I'm probably going to go on blood pressure medication also.
You're doing it like that. You got your mind committed to it, and you're eating right. And
well, it's only been a week, so hopefully I can keep it up. It's only been a week. Hopefully I don't, lose 20 pounds and then quit doing it. I mean, that's kind of my history has been doing that. I started dieting, it lasts for a couple of weeks, and then next thing I know, I'm back to eating shit and living, an unhealthy lifestyle again. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen. But I'm going to really try to stick to it this time, and hopefully I can, because it did scare me.
Well, I got to tell you two old farts, I got to run.
All right, you young bastard. Go ahead.
And you got a 1-year anniversary coming up too, Jeremy.
Oh, yeah.
What's that for? For a show?
Yeah, for his podcast.
Yeah, it'll be 1 year.
Oh, nice. So it's been a year.
I do one, it'll be a year.
That's crazy. 1 year already. It seems like you just joined. Remember, Eric? I was in his show, and I friggin' texted you, and I'm like, dude, you got to get into this show. This guy's ranting and raving, and I love him. It was amazing,
Well, and then I know you and me and Slightly and a couple other friends like the old Vanity and Joe and Mike and Hugh Bell became really fast friends with them.
Oh, absolutely. He's a great guy, great show, and it doesn't matter that he has a small penis. I still like the guy, no matter what. So it's all good. But listen,
hey, John,
Eric,
I got a question.
I need to wrap it. Oh yes, go ahead. You heard that. All right, go ahead.
I seen a guy the other day, and he looked just like you, but he had a 10-inch dick. Was that you?
No, it was not. You know me well enough where I'm a solid 12 inches. So don't
it was
downsize
about
me like
12.
that.
It was about 12.
Oh wait, did I say 12? I meant 2 inches. I'm sorry.
Well, but the only difference between you and him was he had it in his mouth. So was that you?
Now, as I've told you, I would love to be gay. And I mean it. I would love to be gay because then I wouldn't have to deal with the girl drama. I could sit around, watch football, then you and your boyfriend could just fuck and then go back to watching football. It wouldn't be, all right, let's have sex, and then, why aren't you paying attention to me? And then standing in front of the television, not let you watch. I would love to be gay. Unfortunately for me, it wasn't in the cards. Men just don't do it for me. But so I'm kind of stuck with the females, and it is what it is. What are you going to do? So Eric,
Well,
hey, listen, I got to run too.
ahead.
Eric, why don't you run off some of the shows that are coming up? I'm not in my studio. I'm on my phone, so I had no music or anything. So just go ahead, and then I'll end the show.
Well, coming up on Podbean Live, the Slightly Serious Show should return Thursday at the very latest. But in prime time, be on the lookout for the Beans and Weenie Show at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So that's in about 2 hours. Then, of course, be on the lookout for the Old Man's Podcast tomorrow morning about 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And hopefully you'll probably be back later in the week, John, doing some more of these shows. And
I will.
And hopefully be on after, like, the Old Man. And then, of course, we're looking forward to Jeremy doing the 1-year anniversary of his show, and also be on the lookout for Mike Tampa Bay to be doing his show. And I think he's going to had to postpone today's Boundaries episode either till later in the week or next week. Be on the lookout for the Frankie D Show and Chuck and Billy's Not Your Cup of Tea, the Dude Sean Show, as well as Trice Talk and Tall Tales in the Rabbit Hole to get back on more of a regular schedule, and also additional names like Lingalonga. And then Ralph's got a show Saturday morning. I guess if any podcast shows here on Podbean that are news and commentary oriented are going to be doing some shows commemorating the 9/11 anniversary.
Yep.
And, hopefully, we'll be seeing more friends coming back regularly with more shows. And Slacker 82 Alpha is also on tomorrow evening, along with Frankie D on Wednesday and Friday. And then El Gato doing the Homeboy 88 podcasts. Those should be a lot of fun. And any other podcast friends I may have missed. And, of course, a big thank you, of course, to Spicoli and to Jeremy, Mr. T and Jess and Jill and Crazy Train, a.k.a. Crazy Town, Light Bright, and Poetic, and Spanky from Beans, Weenies, and Pook. And a big congratulations, of course, to Poetic. I know she's due next month. And we're certainly wishing her all the best.
Wow, that's amazing. Next month already. That's amazing. Wow.
But love you and God bless you, and we look forward to doing this again soon.
Okay, take care, everybody. Thanks for joining the John DeVito Show.
We're wrapping up, Mr. A.
Sorry, Mr. A, you missed it, buddy. Next time.
And hope you get to feeling better, Mr. A.
Oh, yeah, I do too. What's wrong with Mr. A before I end the show? Is he okay?
I think he acknowledged catching the virus, but hopefully he starts feeling better soon.
Oh, Mr. A, buddy, I'm praying for you. We joke back and forth, but I just want to pray for you, and hopefully you're okay, man. So, how you feeling, buddy? Before I end this, I'm just going to end the show, but I want to know how you feeling. You okay? We'll look for your response down in the chat. But yeah, that's scary, man. And that's one thing I should mention before we get off really quickly. My wife, for the first time since this pandemic started, is kind of afraid. She is saying that she thinks this outbreak this fall is going to be worse than it was last fall. And she thinks it's going to be much worse. There are a lot of people in the hospital, and she's afraid. So I may actually have a show where I bring on Dr. Cheryl to talk about COVID again. So Mr. A is saying this is the worst he's ever been, bar none. And that's what she's saying right now. She's saying this new strain is very contagious and nasty. And it's scary. So I may have Dr. Cheryl come on with me. She actually mentioned it to me. So we may do that. So
and I dropped Mr. A your email address for him to get in touch with you, because I know you'd be interested in talking to him.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If any of us, I saw Spicoli just make the comment. If you need any help from any of us, let us know. Send me a message. Send us all a message. Let us know if we can help you with anything, brother. And
or hopefully Mr. A and Spicoli have got each other on Discord.
Yes, that would be good also. All right, everybody. Listen, I see my boys walking
See you later.
Football practice. We'll be